Smoke rose Monday from the burned-out hulk of Brazil's National Museum as recriminations flew over who was responsible for the loss of a majority of Latin America's largest archive of historical artifacts, objects and documents. The 200-year-old museum had a collection of 20 million items including Egyptian and Greco-Roman artifacts and the oldest human skull found in the Western Hemisphere, and was once the home of the Portuguese royal family. It was not clear what was at the site when the building caught fire Sunday night and what was safe in storage. However, a Roman fresco which survived Pompeii is believed to be among the items destroyed in the fire. The building was still standing Monday morning, but much of it appeared to have been gutted, and firefighters could be seen walking through the charred rooms as they searched for anything that may be salvaged. A few hundred people, including many staff members, crowded at the gates of the site, some in tears. The museum has put out a statement today asking for anyone in possession of images of the collection, even selfies taken inside, to be sent to them so they can try to preserve the memory of the National Museum. The fire quickly led to criticism over dilapidated infrastructure and budget deficits as Brazilians prepare to vote in national elections in October. Just crying doesn't solve anything, Alexander Kellner, the museum's director, told reporters at the scene. He became emotional as he listed the funds and support he said he would now demand from authorities to salvage what was left of the collection and rebuild the museum. "We have to act. Share this article." Kellner said that the institution had just recently secured approval for funds for a planned renovation of the museum, including an upgrade of the fire prevention system. "Look at the irony, the money is now there, but we ran out of time," he said. Kellner said there were fire extinguishers on site, but it was not clear if there were sprinklers since they are problematic for museums because water can damage objects. On the massive site where the museum sits, the fencing was dilapidated, stonework was cracked, and lawns appeared untended. "This fire is what Brazilian politicians are doing to the people," said Rosana Holanda, a 35-year-old high school teacher who was crying at the gates of the museum on Monday. "They're burning our history, and they're burning our dreams." Presidential candidate Marina Silva, standing in next month's election, also criticized the lack of investment, tweeting, "Given the financial straits of the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro and all the other public universities the last 3 years, this was a tragedy that could be seen coming." The fire broke out after the museum had closed for the day at 7:30 p.m. local time and quickly spread throughout the building. Live television broadcast images of the fire showed it burning out of control throughout the building late into the night. Roberto Rabadi, a spokesman for the fire department, said 80 firefighters were battling the blaze and that by midnight local time it was just about under control and should be out within a few hours. Brazil's president, Michel Temer, said on Twitter, "Incalculable to Brazil the loss of the collection of the National Museum. 200 years of work, research and knowledge have been lost. The value of our history cannot be measured by the damage to the building that housed the royal family during the empire. It's a sad day for all Brazilians. What treasures did Brazil's National Museum hold? Brazil's National Museum, ravaged Sunday by a massive fire, is Latin America's largest natural history and anthropology museum, with more than 20 million artifacts and 530,000 titles. marking its 200-year anniversary in June. It was founded in 1818 by Portuguese King João VI and has been installed since 1892 in a former royal palace. It sits in the Quinta da Boa Vista public park in the north of Rio de Janeiro, former palace gardens that now include the city's impressive zoological garden. The museum has about 150,000 visitors a year, according to its website, and has become an important center of research and learning, integrated since 1946 into the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. The residence of the Portuguese royal family in the early 1800s, and then the Brazilian imperial family, the St. Christopher Palace is 123,000 square feet in area, around a third of which is dedicated to exhibition halls. From 1889 to 1891, the neoclassical building hosted the assembly that wrote Brazil's first constitution. In 1892 it took in the Royal Museum, previously situated in central Rio, which included collections notably Egyptian acquired by the Portuguese royal family. The library contains 537,000 works, of which 1,560 are rare. The museum is particularly reputed for the richness of its paleontology department with more than 26,000 fossils, including a dinosaur skeleton discovered in Brazil's central Minas Gerais and several specimens of species that have now disappeared, like giant sloths and saber-toothed tigers. It is also home to the largest meteorite discovered in Brazil, named Bendigo and weighing 3 tons. Its biological anthropology section includes the oldest human fossil found within today's Brazilian borders, known as Luzia. With more than 6.5 million specimens, the zoology department includes an exceptional collection of fish, 600,000, and amphibians, 100,000, as well as mollusks, reptiles, shells, corals, and butterflies. The herbarium, created in 1831, has 550,000 plants. Dedicated since the 19th century to research, the National Museum is the oldest scientific institution in the country and started teaching in 1927. Researchers and laboratories occupy a large part of the building, and it has over the past century developed a policy of international exchanges, learning and publication of research. Important scientific figures have visited, including Albert Einstein and Marie Curie. The museum has suffered budget difficulties in recent years, closing temporarily in 2015 because of maintenance issues, Culture Minister Sergio Solido said Sunday. In August 1995, the building suffered serious damage after storms led to flooding in the archaeology department, notably damaging 3,000-year-old Egyptian mummies and causing parts of a Tyrannosaurus skeleton to dissolve. Rabadi said firefighters got off to a slow start fighting the blaze because the 2 fire hydrants closest to the museum were not functioning. Instead, trucks had to be sent to get water from a nearby lake. He added that some of the museum's pieces had been spared. We were able to remove a lot of things from inside with the help of workers of the museum, Rabadi told Globo News. The museum, which is tied to the Rio de Janeiro Federal University and the Education Ministry, was founded in 1818. It houses several landmark collections, including Egyptian artifacts and the oldest human fossil found in Brazil. According to the museum's website, many of its collections came from members of Brazil's royal family. The historical building also once served as the residence for the Portuguese royal family. The museum had suffered from years of neglect under numerous governments, the institution's vice director the Globo TV network on Sunday night. "We never got anything from the federal government," said the official, Luis Fernando Dias Duarte. "We recently finalized an agreement with State-run Development Bank, BNDES, for a massive investment so that we could finally restore the palace, and, ironically, we had planned on a new fire prevention system."